Hello everyone. Today is 13th of August. Now it's 5 o'clock, middle of the day by Moscow time, late afternoon. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my second news update during the live stream. Although, dear friends, let me notice straight away for new members of community that on weekdays live streams are news updates only, and I will comment on a question or comment that I might receive through PayPal, Boosty or Patreon only. And community chat, when I'm actively engaged with the chat during the stream, will be sorry. So that's being said, let's talk about news now, and I have a breaking news for this moment, dear friends, which is that well, head of high-ranking officer of Russian armed forces, head of radiation, chemical and biological defense forces, Igor Kirillov, stated today that Ukraine has most likely already created a dirty bomb, which is, of course, huge escalation, I will say. I will read you a few more sentences from him. So, dirty bomb, we will not reveal secrets. In fact, it is not that difficult to make. I think they have it, he told the Zvezda TV channel on the sidelines of the Army 2024 forum. Today, Kirillov also added that the toxic substances already used by Ukrainian armed forces could only have been synthesized in the United States. The industries of other countries is not designed for this purpose. So this is basically, I will say, in my interpretation, this is a direct accusation of the US to be involved in a nuclear program of the Ukraine, and according to, yet again, head of Russian radiation, chemical and biological defense forces, high-ranking official from defense ministry, Ukraine Kyiv regime already has a dirty bomb, most likely has dirty bomb. After this statement, of course, Moscow have no options really to act on this information, and I guess we will find out soon what Moscow's next steps in this regard will be. Once again, this is it's a nuclear threat to Russia. And dear friends, of course, many members of our community know what militaries mean under dirty bomb. But if some members don't know, then this is a high explosive material, high explosive bomb, which is packed with radioactive elements. It may not work exactly as a nuclear bomb or atomic bomb, but after explosion of such a device, radioactive materials are spread on significant territories, and those areas basically are, after that, one may say, sterilized, and humans cannot live in those areas. And if anybody ends up under direct influence of those bombs, charged particles, most likely people will suffer from radioactive sickness as a result of it, and of course soil will be unusable for thousands of years, and the rest of it. So it's definitely serious, very serious nuclear threat that should be and will be, I'm quite sure, taken very seriously by Russian leadership. Also, Kommersant newspaper is reporting about statements of former Russian president and the current deputy chairman of the Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, who stated during his commentary on the situation in the Kursk region that invading forces of Kyiv regime will be demilitarized, will be neutralized, and the Russian side will take harsh actions, not just against invaders directly, but also towards their commanders, their leaders. And basically Medvedev highlighted that leadership of Kyiv regime may also be target of the Russian retaliation. Strong statements from Medvedev, but as I already highlighted several times before, former Russian president quite often does make strong statements, and I cannot tell you for sure if his statements are only his own opinion or his statements are official position of Moscow, because after all he is not just former high-ranking official of the Russian Federation, but current high-ranking official also. He is a deputy chairman of the Security Council. So yet again, strong statements from Moscow. Let's see what actions will follow in upcoming days and weeks. TASS news agency also reporting about statements of Russian Defense Ministry about developments in the Kursk region, and latest information is that since the beginning of invasion in Kursk region, Kiev regime already lost more than 2,000 military personnel, also 35 tanks, 31 armored personal carriers, 18 infantry fighting vehicles, and also 179 or 78 in addition to that, 179 different type of armored vehicles and 7 basically. Usually when the Russian Defense Ministry reports about auto transport that was destroyed on the line of contact, it's usually civilian vehicles transformed into for military purposes. So 35 tanks, 31 armored personnel carriers, 18 infantry fighting vehicles, 179 other armored vehicles of Kiev regime, and also 78 transport vehicles being destroyed. Also 14 pieces of field artillery. And as I already said, the Kiev regime lost more than 2,000 military personnel in Kursk direction. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that according to statements of Abdiel Laudinov, Major General of the Russian Armed Forces and head of Akhmat Special Forces, according to him, in developing of the plan of Kursk invasion, actively were involved there NATO generals, NATO commanders, and main role in planning of this operation was on US generals, according to Alaudinov. Maybe later on we will learn some more detailed information about level of US, UK or German, let's say, or NATO involvement in this invasion of the Russian Federation. But at this point all we have is statements. Again, because we are talking about statements of high-ranking officials from Russian Defense Ministry, most likely, obviously they know much more information that we have, because they have access to classified information, and therefore I think undoubtedly US or NATO personnel was involved in this operation. And Abdiel Laudinov also made a statement that according to him, due to interception of the radio communication on part of Kiev regime's forces, highly likely that NATO personnel is also involved in this incursion into Russian territory. NATO commanders that are acting as mercenaries or instructors. If in that case, it is only a matter of time, I believe, and number of this NATO personnel or foreign mercenaries will eventually end up in Russian captivity, and probably we will learn some more after that also about level of NATO involvement. RIA Novosti is also reporting that Russian armed forces achieved significant progress in Konstantinovka direction, which is south sector of the front line, and according to aid of head of DPR Igor Kamakovsky, Russian armed forces advanced at least for several kilometers in area of Konstantinovka. This is not really surprising information, but very significant, because we already know that Russian armed forces cut main supply and support line between Ugledar and Konstantinovka, and now Russian troops definitely are close to establish further advance in Constantinople direction and eventually establish control over this settlement. And after that, probably next big stage of their military operations in Southern sector of the front line will be Ugledar and surrounding areas. Also, we have additional news about possible changes in the leadership of Ukraine. And the RT is reporting that according to Russian intel, US is leaning up possible Zelensky's replacements. I spoke about this topic a little bit during the first update, but I'll give you some more news on that. The US planning to unleash a campaign to discredit Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky to pave the way for replacing him with a more playable figure. Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, has claimed the agency believes former Interior Minister Arsen Avakov is being considered to take the helm of Ukraine. In a statement on Tuesday, the SVR claimed that the American elite is growing increasingly frustrated with Zelensky as lawmakers on both sides of their aisles start to doubt the large targeted spending of billions of dollars in military aid to Ukraine. Zelensky is taking crazy steps that threaten to trigger escalation far beyond Ukraine, officials said, adding that Kiev has moved to feverish action as the Ukrainian leader struggles to maintain his grip on power after his presidential term officially ended in May. The US is therefore looking at options for replacing him with a more manageable and less corrupt figure that will be amenable to most of the West. The agency said, according to SVR, Avakov, who took over their interior minister after the Western-backed coup d'etat in Kiev in 2014 and held the post of head of interior ministry until 2021, is one of the most suitable candidates being considered. Well, interesting and somewhat surprising, because when we are talking about Ukraine, I don't think there is even a single uncorrupt person that ever held any position in this failed state, and Avakov is definitely no exception. He is as corrupt as next former or current official in Ukraine. Although SWR has a good point that most likely US elites or Western ruling class basically is fed up with Zelensky. They know Zelensky is losing. Western ruling class is struggling, and Western propaganda is struggling to maintain image of Zelensky as some sort of warrior for, freedom and democracy and that kind of stuff. And it is obvious that time when Zelensky will be replaced is closing in. And question is with whom he will be replaced and how? Through military coup and then elections, or through directly with elections, so-called elections. What kind of elections can be held in this failed state under the name of Ukraine, man? But anyways, that in informations that I see about these possible changes in Ukrainian leadership, although anything is possible. Me personally, I still think that most likely Zaluzhny will replace Zelensky, but yet again, SVR is Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, and if they have information that Avakov is in a conversation in US, then probably that's exactly their case. In any ways, we will find out relatively soon. RIA Novosti is also reporting that according to Russian underground, according to coordinator of the Russian underground in the Nikolaev region, Sergei Lebedev, there was huge explosions in Odessa region, and their warehouses with the Western military equipment was destroyed, and this military equipment was transferred to Odessa region from Romania, according to Russian or pro-Russian partisans in Ukraine. Good news, by the way, good news. Well done to Russian forces for destroying enemy warehouses with long-range precise strikes. Also, although by the way, no precise information what kind of equipment was destroyed exactly. But any destruction of enemy capabilities is of course success. Also, RT is reporting that Russia's key ally sends troops into country, into Russia. So Belarus is sending rocket and artillery troops to Russia for military exercises. Defense Minister of Belarus announced or stated about it on Tuesday. The drills will improve the use of multiple rocket launcher systems at an unspecified military range in Russia, the short message said. And dear friends, of course, militaries, they are sharing information just in portions about what they feel fit to be open. And therefore, I'm quite sure after this news broke up, speculations will begin, including about Belarus's direct involvement in this conflict. And well, I also would not be surprised to learn sometime in the future that Belarusian missile forces and artillery forces participated, for example, in destruction of Kiev regime's expeditionary force, let's say, into Russia's Kursk region. It might be the case, but yet again, officially, Belarusian troops are deployed to Russia for military exercises. That's all is open for this moment. And dear friends, before I continue, let me notice, if I may, that this small media project of mine, with their several channels on YouTube, Rumble, and Telegram, is completely subscriber funded, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work and this project with small donations through PayPal or Boosty platforms, or by subscribing to my pages on Patreon and also Boosty. Just a few minutes ago, about an hour ago, I published on Patreon and Boosty new extra video, extra content about last Saturday. As I mentioned previously, me and my family, we are moving from Moscow region to Moscow, and we are in process now, and that's why I had a day off on Saturday, by the way. It was not really a day off, I had something to do. I wonder when I really will have a day off from news, so that I will just don't read no news and don't watch or listen to no news. But I cannot do it now. So yes, I made short video Saturday about this trip to Moscow, and I shared this video today. And as I said, by the way, on my Patreon and Boosty, I have quite a number of these bonus videos or bonus content. And from September, I will have even more programs on both these pages on Patreon and Boosty. Although Patreon is obviously much more developed because it's much more known worldwide. Everybody knows Patreon. And yes, from September, there will be significant increase in extra content. And dear friends, I can give you an announcement that I shared with our Patreon and Boosty community in that short video, that from September, probably my second updates will be published on Patreon page and their Boosty page. And their first updates will still be published on main channels on YouTube and Rumble. Although, of course, if some extra developments, if some very significant developments, of course, I will make additional content on main channels also. Anyways, this is it when it comes to this project. All the links, by the way, if you want to support, all the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And let me remind you that a subscription, monthly subscription on my Patreon starts from $5. I had the hope that maybe before end of this summer our community on Patreon will reach 200, but it's not happening, unfortunately. But well, I welcome everybody, by the way. I welcome new members, obviously, so please consider. You might find it interesting. Anyways, let's continue. Zglad newspaper is reporting that Israel is has warned the US and a number of EU member states officials that if Iran will conduct direct strikes on Israel as a retaliation for a killing of leader of Hamas in Tehran recently, then Israel will also respond with direct strikes on Iran. So even though the expectations about Iranian retaliatory strike is still high, at least for now, there was no retaliatory strikes, and they might not even be one. But still, Israeli leadership is getting ready for such possibility, and they are further escalating, giving warnings to its main allies and indirectly to Iran that in case of strikes on Israel, there will be direct strikes on Iran also. RIA Novosti is also reporting that Russian President Vladimir Putin conducted negotiations with the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas. Conversation lasted for quite a while. And of course, topic of discussion was first of all, situation in Palestine and this escalation between Israel and the Palestinian state. Russian president stated that Russia is doing whatever it can to help with the de-escalation, but unfortunately, not everything is dependent on Russia, and Russia definitely stands next to Palestinian people and will continue to support Palestinian people in terms of humanitarian aid and political assistance. Let's continue. Of course, main parts of the conversation, probably understandably so, are not open for the public, and maybe sometime in the future we will find out some nuances about the conversation, but not now. Also, Kommersant newspaper is reporting that Taiwan may receive a first batch of HIMARS MLRS systems from US in relatively shorter time. This year, from now to before end of 2026. So anytime US may start deliveries of promised 29 systems, 29 units of these HIMARS MLRS systems. Of course, Beijing would not be happy with this development, understandably so. But yet again, we all know what Western ruling class intends to do, isn't it? We know that they want to provoke a military conflict between Taiwan and mainland China, and they are clearly pushing in this direction. So therefore, I guess none of the members of our community are even slightly surprised to hear that US continues to arm Taiwanese regime there to then use as a proxy against China. It's simple, man. It's easily predictable. Anyways, let's continue. Kommersant newspaper is reporting that sales of electric cars in the world rise for 21% in July, which is quite a significant number, and overall 1.4 million electric cars were sold in this world. Interesting, and one may argue that this is a good news because electric cars are green, are based on green technology, and it's good for environment and stuff. But I have to disagree, dear friends, because can you imagine what is used to create these electric cars? Everything that is contains resin or plastic, composite materials, everything is oil, right? Almost everything. Whatever else is also involved in creation of these cars. Also contains some percentage of oil in terms of production, because to produce anything you need energy, right? Electricity, for example, or gas or whatever, which is also directs us towards oil and gas, right? And then electric batteries, by the way. To build these electric batteries, I mean, these rare earth materials, including lithium, is being dig out from the earth all around the world, and in some cases, this mining process is done properly with all the technology necessary to minimize harm to people, first of all, and also to nature. But in many countries, by the way, these rare earth materials have been digged by people with no equipment, no special equipment, no insurance, no nothing. And this is basically, one may argue, is a slave work. When people are working hard as hell to make for a living in unimaginable conditions. So if you really think this so-called boom in renewables and electric vehicles is good for humanity and good for environment, then well, I don't know. I don't see it this way, man. I don't see it this way. Point is that some very influential groups have invested heavily in this business, and they are promoting this business as if is really any better than other ones. It's just that's what it is, man. It's a scam. It's simply a scam, man. Yet again, you may argue with me. I'm not an expert in this, but in this field. But I mean, when Western ruling class did anything for humanity, ever? Can you tell me when last time Western ruling class did anything good for humanity? Never. And why you think then this time is any different when it comes to the so-called renewables and when it comes to electric vehicles, for example? You know. But anyways, yet again, I have my opinion. Members of our community have, of course, their opinion. We may agree or disagree. It's all okay. But because of my skepticism towards the so-called elites, I'm not buying that they really care about environment or humanity, and that's why they are pushing this green agenda. It's BS, man. And finally, dear friends, when it comes to this media reports, I will share with you this information. Although then I will go through Telegram reports, so don't go away, dear friends. So RT is reporting that Russia and India in new mechanism to bypass dollar, according to media reports. Interesting, isn't it? India and Russia are exploring the idea of benchmark rupee-ruble exchange rate to start direct trade using the two currencies. The Economic Times has reported top regulators and bankers from both nations are seeking to overcome dollar trade barriers created by Western sanctions against Moscow, the outlet added. Well, great news for both sides. And dear friends, you know my take on this all this topic of de-dollarization. I believe main task for BRICS right now should be, and most likely is, to create alternative financial and banking systems alternative to the Western one, which has been weaponized by Western ruling class so badly. And I really hope during the Kazan summit of the BRICS this autumn we will hear some information about concrete steps that were taken by BRICS member states to create this alternative financial and the banking system. It is just extremely necessary for this world, extremely necessary for businesses, not just in BRICS member states, but worldwide, because weaponization of the Western financial and banking system definitely undermines free trade, definitely undermines interests of so many countries in this world, and there are so many businesses. So let's hope during the summit in Kazan, which is the capital of Tatarstan Autonomous Republic of the Russian Federation, we will hear something important in terms of creation of this alternative financial and the banking system. And now let's go through some news that I reported on my Telegram during the day. And as always, dear friends, I start my work, my day with a post on Telegram with the greetings to our community. Then I share this information that Poland has signed agreement on the production of 48 launchers of the Patriot surface-to-air missile systems. U.S. Ambassador to Poland, Mark Brzezinski, said on Monday. He added that Poland will have their highest capabilities in air defense with these weapons. Last month, the U.S. approved $2 billion defense loan to Poland. The Polish National Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, who attended their signing ceremony, said that the contract was worth more than 1 billion contract about these air defense systems. And Poland is spending a lot, by the way. Poland is spending definitely a lot of money for US, first of all, US weapon systems. And I see a question from John Dickinson. Is this stream through VPN? Yes, John. Hello, dear friends. Hello, everybody. And thank you very much for participating in the stream and for your attention. Sorry that I cannot be engaged with the chat today, but we have a community chat on Sundays, so it's I hope it's okay. So yes, from now on, whenever you see my live streams on YouTube, it's done through VPN, and therefore there might be some technical issues, but hopefully it will work out, and I hope eventually Russian side and Russia's Roskomnadzor and YouTube administration will find some compromises so that citizens of Russia and guests of Russia will use YouTube without issues. And I hope same will be done in regards to Rumble, which is unfortunately also inaccessible in Russia without VPN. Also, dear friends, I shared on my Telegram full interview, full conversation of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It's 2 hours long. I mentioned this during the first update, and this is linked to first update. Also, I shared the report from RT about Army 2024 forum that is taking place right now, and today I see reports that contracts were signed on this forum already for some 500 billion rubles, and this is not a final number, I guess. Also, information that Iran rejects Western calls to stay Israel retaliation. Tehran has brushed off calls to stand down for Israel's alleged killing of Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh later last month. I spoke about this topic that even newly elected president of Iran has said that even though there are attempts from worldwide to recommend Iran to don't retaliate with harshly against Israel, Iran maintains position that it's their right, sovereign right, to retaliate on aggression, and that's what they're gonna do. But yet again, we are hearing these strong statements for many days now, but actions did not follow, and at this point probably none of us will be surprised if there will be no Iranian retaliatory strike or combined Iranian and Hezbollah retaliatory strike, for example. Let's see. Also, I shared this video, by the way. This is Kursk region, and another were detained, as you can see, like at least five members of Ukraine's so-called defense ministry, armed forces, have been taken a prisoner. And also I shared, of course, on daily basis videos of destruction of Kiev regime's military equipment in the Kursk region. For example, you can see in this video two destroyed Ukrainian tanks right next to each other. One, and in this photo you can see both tanks. As Russian Defense Ministry said, there are over 200 military equipment of Kiev regime have been already destroyed in the Kursk region. Then I shared this video of destruction of Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jet. You can clearly see silhouette. It's of Su-27 Soviet era plane, and then Iskander strike, and that's it. Enemy fighter jet is sent to scrapyard. Then I shared the report of Russian Defense Ministry on progress of special military operation. I would not go into details. Of course, you can check on my Telegram detailed information. Also interesting video, by the way, that Russia to hand over Talvar class frigates to India after completing trials. That's how this frigate looks like. And this warship was designed specifically for Indian Navy. So as you can see, cooperation, by the way, between Russia and India definitely is on top level. And this frigate, by the way, in Russia it's called Project 11356, is armed with long-range guided missiles. Significant force, by the way, undoubtedly. Significant force. This is a picture of meeting between a Russian leader and Palestinian leader and delegations and other leaders of the country, I mean other high-ranking officials. Unfortunately, one civilian was killed today and 28 injured in Lysychansk, Lugansk People's Republic, after Ukrainian side opened fire on civilian bus. As you can see, by the way, bus was directly targeted by Ukrainian terrorists. Condition: 6 of the wounded civilians are in extremely serious condition, and 12 are in serious condition. Also, as I already mentioned, according to Russian Defense Ministry, Kiev regime already lost more than 2,000 military personnel in the Kursk region since the beginning of invasion. Another video, by the way, of destruction of Kiev regime's sabotage group, DRG basically, in Kursk region. As you can see, Russian drone targeted the fast-moving vehicle of Kiev regime forces. Then, report about statements of Ursula washing machine. So she said, she stated that Europe stands firmly with Ukraine. I don't think so. She may speak on her behalf or on behalf of Western ruling class or so-called elites, but when it comes to majority of the people in Europe, first of all, majority is extremely poorly informed, and I doubt they can have informed their opinion on situation on between Russia and Ukraine, or Russia and the Western ruling class. But anyways, according to Ursula, European Union will allocate another 4.2 billion euros for Kiev regime from 50 billion euro Ukraine facility fund. Well, yet again, dear friends, unfortunately, until Western societies, majority in Western states, are poorly informed under the influence of this propaganda of the Western ruling class, they will probably do nothing, despite the obvious reality that there are billions and billions, tens of billions of the euros and dollars of the taxpayers' money of ordinary people like us being transferred to this world's biggest ever money laundering machine that Ukraine has become. Another 4.2 billion euros. Can you imagine how much good could be done for any European countries to improve lives of their citizens of those countries, man? But I mean, talk about it with Ursula, man. Does she cares about any of it? I don't think so. Also, I shared this video of work of Russian Ta-52 helicopter gunship. In my personal opinion, best helicopter gunship in the modernized version of their Mi-24 is of course Mi-35. And who don't know those by the way, greater vehicles that are still operational in dozens of countries worldwide. And of course, nickname of their Mi-24, Mi-35 is Crocodile. This nickname comes from Soviet operations in Afghanistan. And then I shared this shorter extra content that I published on my Patreon and Boosty pages. I shared the link on a Telegram. I shared the link on a Telegram. I spoke about this process of moving towards Moscow with our community on Patreon and Boosty, and I also shared some ideas about development of the future programming on this project. Hopefully, community will find this short video informative and hopefully a little entertaining, because I was making video on bank of the Moscow River, and it's always nice to see this that places, man. Moscow is a wonderful city, and once we will move to Moscow, of course, I'm gonna make more and more content and more programs to better highlight, by the way, life in Russia and Moscow itself. Also, I shared this video when former president of Russian Federation and current deputy chairman of the Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, is commenting on Kursk situation. And well, I'll give you a few sentences from his speech. They will suffer their deserved punishment for the invasion of the Kursk region, he said, adding that the punishment implies a whole range of consequences for those who did this, including the leadership of the Kyiv regime. So stronger statements, as I already said, strong statements from Medvedev. Let's see what kind of actions will follow. Also, dear friends, I shared video of destruction of yet another armored group of Kyiv regime in the Kursk region. These two vehicles of Kyiv regime's forces are moving at some area in the Kursk region, and then they are ambushed and they're destroyed, basically. Also, Kursk region, by the way, this time Russian soldiers destroy Tunguska air defense system. I believe Lancet drone was used to take out this air defense system. It is Lancet, yes. At this point, probably everybody recognizes Lancet silhouette of Lancet drones, this X type wings. And then I shared the latest report of information about latest developments in the Kursk region, and I already spoke about it. I will just add that according to Russian Defense Ministry, in previous 24 hours, Kyiv regime lost 420 military personnel in the Kursk region and 55 armored vehicles, which is quite significant. Overall, as I already said, Kyiv regime lost more than 2,000 military personnel since the beginning of this incursion into Kursk region, which is basically almost a brigade, because Ukrainian brigades or Kiev regime's brigades are about 2,000-3,000 members usually, and one may argue that Kiev regime already lost at least one brigade completely. And process of demilitarization of Kiev regime forces continues. Then I shared the announcement of this live stream. After that, I shared this report of former US ambassador statement, who is saying that this is John Sullivan, by the way, former US ambassador in Russia, who is stating that United States have run out of leverage over Russia. And then quote, if there was something we could do to make Russia submit to our will, we would have already done it in Ukraine. So basically, this former ambassador is acknowledging that US failed to impose its will on Russia. I wonder why those people in so-called political elites in the West had any fantasies or illusions that they might force Russia to do anything, really. But probably because they are extremely uneducated, by the way. They don't know history, they don't know nothing. They are in position of power because they are despicable individuals that are capable of anything, that are capable of walking on the heads of other people. And that's why they reach their position. Not because they are clever or they are decent, no. But because they are despicable individuals that are capable of anything. And I think majority of our community will agree with that. Then I shared, by the way, also information about statements that Trump made during his conversation with Elon Musk. He called Biden, he said that stupid Biden threats caused Ukraine conflict. A Republican presidential nominee, Donald Trump, has accused US President Joe Biden of bringing the world to the brink of nuclear war by making stupid threats against Russia, blaming the Ukraine conflict on Biden's low IQ. Well, this is a political statements, of course, from presidential hopeful from Republican Party, and hardly anybody can argue that Biden is definitely not the brightest human being ever, that's for sure. But unfortunately, I'm afraid behind all this proxy war against Russia, behind all this war on the world that Western ruling class has declared, basically, behind all these developments are standing much more powerful groups in the Western ruling class than Biden. Biden is just their puppet. That's it. And yes, this is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update, all dear friends, for your attention, for participating, and many thanks to all the members of our community who will watch this video in recording. And as I said during the first update, in about hours time, this video, I will publish this video. So if you like my work, if you want to support, you can do it through PayPal, Boosty, or